Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're playing Seirawan chess, which introduces the elephant and the hawk. The elephant moves like a rook and a knight, and the hawk moves like a bishop and a knight. These pieces can be placed on the board when another piece moves for the first time. My goal is to win 3 games, and I will only play against higher rated opponents. Let's get started with game number 1. Alright, game number 1, we get the white pieces. Again, just because we're playing a totally different variant doesn't mean I shouldn't play the London and my setup is wrong. Okay, let me see if I can quickly adjust this. Alright, there we go, just like magic. We are now down a lot of time. We'll continue without placing a piece, and pretty much what I want to do is develop into a normal London system, grab the center, maybe castle, maybe not, and then eventually start with a kingside attack. Seems the opponent is playing for symmetry. We are playing 3-2, so I do get 2 seconds back for every move that I make, so I'm not super concerned about the time difference. I'll start by placing my hawk right now, so it can actually replace the bishop, and the queen still has activity on this diagonal. As far as the elephant goes, I'll probably just put it down when I move a rook at some point, or like try to bring it into the attack, and then I'll basically be working with 3 rooks on the back rank, as opposed to 2. Let's develop the knight, continue without placing a piece. Again, you place these pieces only when one of your pieces is developed out of the way, so in theory you can run out of opportunities to place that piece. So maybe what I'll do actually is I'll develop my knight and place the elephant down right here. I'm just a little bit concerned that it's going to be very obvious to my opponent what my plan is, which is a full-fledged, fully fleshed out kingside attack. Especially if my hawk is already aiming in that direction, and then I drop an elephant staring down the barrel as well. So we'll play c3. The opponent drops the elephant on b8, so probably it's more likely that they're thinking of playing a more normal sort of spread out game. Oh yeah, they're definitely going to castle this way. Okay, queen e2 is kind of indicative of what our plan is as well, but I'd say it's less obvious than the knight move. So hopefully they don't take this as too much of a sign. Actually, no, the knight move probably would have been less obvious now that I think about it. But again, with the knight move, I would have had to drop the elephant. Okay, they play a6, we'll play a4 to make it look like maybe we want a queenside attack, which obviously I have 0 interest in. Please just castle out of the way so I can play knight to f3, drop the elephant, and just, throw pieces in that general direction. b6. Okay, I'm gonna just have to show my cards at this point, because if not, I'm just gonna spend the rest of the game shuffling pieces around without actually making any progress. So we will drop the elephant there. We get knight back. And to be honest, I'm not sure what the opponent's idea is here. We have immense control over that e5 square, and about to have even more with pieces that work in funny ways. We get knight to d7. This sacrifice is so immensely tempting, and I'm pretty sure it's not concrete at all just because of the defense that this eagle provides. So what we'll, should I play f4? That looks like even more fun, but that's just a bishop staring right back at us. Okay, we'll develop the elephant. Again, we have enough pieces just controlling e5 that our central control is immense right now. If we do get f6, okay, but we don't, so no point in calculating it. Let's play capturing with the bishop. If the opponent takes back, probably just take back with the hawk, stare at g7, and see what sorts of headaches we can cause for the opponent. The opponent is rated higher than us, but only by 20 some points. So that's probably why we've been able to even out the time situation. We'll just drop the bishop back. Again, they don't have enough firepower to push e5, so if anything, e6 is a little bit weak. Maybe eagle out this way, targeting it is warranted. Or if not, honestly, even e4, just blasting open the center, and they either stay there and handle the attack somehow, or they castle out of the way. Okay, c5, the opponent seems to not have an issue with pushing into the position. So I don't see why I should either. Let's push e4 right now. I have many more pieces in the center than they do. If we do get c4, even more reason to put that eagle on f4. Looking at e6, the elephant develops, so it does defend the e6 square. I'm gonna go ahead and just castle out of the way. That was not in my bingo card, rather on my bingo card, but honestly, with such a strong attack on this diagonal, I don't see a reason why not. Okay, if I take, my opponent can take with tempo, hitting the queen. So we'll move out of the way first, but we are putting so much pressure on this position that I'm quite happy with this setup that we have going on. I mean, concretely, we haven't played this conceptually very different from regular chess. Pieces are in the center, the king is castled, pieces are free. That is definitely free because the pawn is pinned to the king, unless there's a tactic here that I'm missing with the elephant, which I may very well be, but I don't think I am. Still can't take here because the elephant defends, so... Actually, I can take on c4, though. Oh, wait! Oh, I can. Okay, whew. I forgot that this works like a rook as well, and then I also forgot how the knight and the queen move. It seems I only have very limited storage upstairs. All 10 of my neurons are working at full firepower right now, and as soon as I try to introduce new information, everything starts to crumble. We get king to h8. I guess we'll just move pieces towards the center. We're super low on time, and we're winning by not a small margin, so should be totally fine. This probably works, I think. Again, we have so much control over e5, I'd be shocked if it didn't. Let's take back with the eagle. I don't really want to trade it off for a knight for no reason. Queen develops, tickle the queen with my knight, tickle the knight with my rook. Okay, we get knight to f6, sure, we'll go for a trade. Elephant takes back, we're still up a rook. Let's take on a6, more free material. Okay, I'm down to 14 seconds and I'm spending a lot of time commentating, so let's actually try to win this. Okay, we've traded off all of the weird pieces, so this should be a pretty straightforward conversion. The knight is in a little bit of trouble here, but it might be able to escape. Oh, not quite. Not to mention we can sack the rook now because we have back rank ideas. Meaning if the opponent moves the rook over to defend, I can sacrifice it. Okay, they decide to desperado the knight on c3 instead. We will dive into that 7th rank, which is now nice and weak for us to target, and there should be mating ideas if you include the bishop. We'll go ahead and just take. And the opponent flags for us to win game number 1. Oh, you see what I mean? Look, the setup is now messed up again. If you look at my clock and my name, it's, I don't know why chess.com does that. I feel like the formatting should be exactly the same, but I guess these are relatively niche variants. Oh, and somebody commented in the game, bruh, YouTube video, how many checkmates you got so far? I'm just gonna say a few and add a smiley face. Okay, with that, we have 1 victory under our belt. Let's go to move on to game number 2. All right, game number 2, we get the white pieces against a significantly higher rated opponent, at least more so than the last one, about 50 points of rating difference. And we'll continue without placing a piece for these first couple of moves. I'd kind of like to see the opponent commit, even if it's committing to leaving the king in the center, to be honest. Oh, we're getting the same opening again, that's quite funny. But what I was gonna say is I'd like to see the opponent commit the king somewhere, or at least make it very obvious where they intend to move it, before I start placing pieces, so I can sort of spare myself a couple extra tempo in terms of maneuvering my pieces around. For example, right there, if I had placed a piece down and then I'd placed another one on the king side, and eventually the opponent castles queen side, that's a couple of extra tempo that I sort of just have to eat in order to get my attack going. And of course, there's the off chance that the opponent shrugs it off and castles into it anyways, in which case I'm probably even better off. But if there's no need for me to overcommit, I'm going to try to allow my opponent to instead. Ooh, g6. So if I take, they double their pawn, but they open up a file. But then they also have super strong control of that e4 square. I'm going to take it, to be honest. I'm going to take it and make the argument that I don't think they're going to be able to hold. Oh, they can just take with the bishop. Didn't see that idea, to be honest. Okay, in that case, we will develop the knight and place the hawk on b1 with the pretty simple idea of playing c3 and looking one eagle at another. I mean, that's pretty much what this piece can do at the moment. As far as working as a knight, it doesn't really have anywhere it can move to. I mean, it can move here and target g2. Could be a little bit annoying, but it is on the side of the board at that point. So it's mostly working as a bishop staring into our weak and light squares. So after c3, I at least take care of the weak and light squares, and at best I can even get them to trade off. Okay, cool, we'll play c3. It's part of my London setup anyways, and it gives some vision to our eagle. Okay, trade, sure. I'll take with the rook and skip placing a piece. I'm pretty confident the opponent is going to castle kingside, and I'm going to be able to follow that up with knight to f3, placing my elephant on g1, h4. Oh, and they place their elephant with the castle, probably looking for e5. So we'll play knight to f3, commit our final elephant, and we're looking for h4, probably elephant to h3, h5, some sort of sacrificing combination of that sort. So we'll go ahead and start with h4. h5 is what we're met with. Okay, knight to e5. We'll grab control of the center, stopping ideas of e5. Get knight to d7. I'm going to reinforce it with a knight, with the idea that I should probably lead my attack with my weaker pieces so that if they do get traded off, stronger pieces can take their place, as opposed to leading your attack with stronger pieces, and then if those get attacked, you actually have to move backwards. Ooh, knight to g4 definitely challenges my control over e5. If I take, my opponent takes. That's my question. If I take, my opponent takes. h5 is available, but my knight is under attack, so knight to e5 would be necessary. f6 is never possible because knight just takes. Unless they take first. That has to be at least somewhat good for me, so we'll go ahead and take on g4. Knight to e5. We could also just trade everything off and be left with a pawn. Still staring at that g4 pawn, still with the idea of h5. Still in a pretty good position in my opinion. Do we take with the pawn or the bishop? I guess we should take with the pawn to buy ourselves some more time, because the pawn by itself is still defended, so the opponent has to stack attackers, and that gives me time to continue my own attack. Whereas if I had taken with the bishop, we sort of just trade and that pawn stands by itself. Okay, queen to d7. Holds on to g4, we'll push h5. Eventually I have to do something about this pawn because it's stopping me from developing my elephant, and that's, kind of the whole point of me placing it here. Otherwise it's just kind of stuck there and then I can't even castle. Queen to f5. Really aggressive play by the opponent. Does this work? Because what about just h6? The opponent would take h7. King moves out of the way. I take, the opponent takes. I take on g4. But at that point, my own pawn rather, is blocking in my rook. Okay, again, not how I wanted to play this, but we're going to play elephant to e2. We're just going to reroute it. Because otherwise I'm going to be fighting a entire battle to get rid of one pawn to then start my attack. Instead of just kind of working around the fact that this pawn is probably in there for the long haul until I eventually, pick it off with my queen. Okay, bishop takes. Elephant here I think just makes perfect sense. Targets the queen. If the opponent does want to sack the queen for the elephant, by all means. We weaken their position, I think, enough that it's justified. Not to mention they have 25 seconds left to make some pretty critical decisions in this position, I guess. g4 is also about to drop because the queen and the elephant both stare at it. Oh, and they do go for the sack. Okay, this should be fun. We have a pass pawn on the h-file. The king is still hanging out in the center, which is not ideal, but the opponent has 10 seconds to make use of it. Let's play f3. As far as a rook goes, it's not really doing much. As far as a knight goes, it could have, but we stopped it with f3. Queen to d3 targets this pawn, which is defended by the elephant. e6 will move the king out of the way. Playing a little bit of fast chess now. Let's go for it. Let's see if they want to sack the elephant for a rook. Okay, rook to g6. Instead, they want to take my pawn for free. How dare they? Let's play here, so that if the rook takes, I just take back. The elephant takes. I'm not really sure what I'm getting at, actually. All right, might as well grab some free pawns while we're here. That's the best thing I think we can get out of this, is simplifying the position and then grabbing some free pawns on the way out. King up is probably fine. We'll just defend, and I don't think this attack has any more... Oh, I didn't see that idea. I was going to say, I don't think the attack has any more meat to it. Although I don't see what the follow-up is to this. Oh, this. I see. All right, I spoke way too soon. This attack is ravaging my position, actually. Wow, I think there's no way to defend it but to drop the queen. That's insane. All right, I guess we're playing a game of flagging now, and I don't think I'm in a better position here whatsoever. But I do think I'll be able to get away with playing some tricks, right? Now we have a forced passed pawn, and like I said, now we are winning. I guess we just promote. No, why would you promote to a bishop? Now we're not even again, but it's not as winning as it was a second ago. That's the second time. I think I did that in the last video too. I didn't pre-move it, I just clicked, because normally it just gives you a queen right away if you just click twice. That's crazy. Okay, well, now we're just buying time. Moving the king to the back rank has to be worth something. Targeting this pawn to allow the king to come through. I don't care about dropping this pawn. This bishop holds on to both of these by themselves. I've made so much more work of this than I needed to. It's still winning, but holy smokes. way less winning than it was a minute ago. Now we can just kind of take these pawns one by one. Okay, that's held on by the bishop, so that's fine. Sure, I'll take this one as well. Yep, now we just walk back around. This is kind of a lazy way to win this, but again, winning. Sure, you can go for the sack. I just take, and two passed pawns is too much for one king to handle. Nice. All right, we'll go ahead and speed through this simplification. Oh, no need, the opponent resigns. Sweet. With that, we managed to overcomplicate a completely winning position, but still take away the victory for game number 2. We now have 2 victories under our belt. Let's go to move on to game number 3. All right, game number 3, and it seems we've unlocked yet a higher rated player, now 1806. I think we could cross 1700 if we manage to play the right moves in this game. We'll continue without placing a piece. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and so far, I feel like our strategy has served us well. If we get this opening again, that would be hilarious. 3 times in a row, but all by higher rated players than myself, so we have to be doing something right. Not to mention, I think I've played white for all of these now, which is nice. Ooh, knight to f6, okay, a little bit different. Might end up being a transposition, though, to the exact same line. Oh, c5, okay. This is so far a normal London opening. Might even get queen b6. But we get g6 instead, so this will be more of a Grunfeld. We'll play bishop to d3 first, continue without placing a piece. And my idea here is probably just knight here, drop the eagle on b1, so we have this nice strong battery on the light square diagonal. And then probably like knight to f3, drop the elephant on g1. Again, h4, stack the elephant, and then we have some good pressure on the file as well. And honestly, at that point, I might not even castle. So if we can just get the attack rolling, then we'll be in a good spot. Depends on what the opponent decides to play, though. Bishop to h6 defended by the eagle. I mean, it's definitely an interesting way to play it. We'll go ahead and just take. Surely the eagle will have to take back, and we've sort of won ourselves a tempo. We'll play knight to d2, drop the eagle on b1, and I feel like this is pretty non-threatening considering it's staring at a pawn chain. So any player could look at this and say, well, that's a pretty bad way to stack 2 pieces that work on the diagonal, because it sort of just clumps their ability to move. In fact, I'm going to insist on leaving it on that diagonal, even though it does trap our rook. And the reason I am is because I'm very, I guess you could call it steadfast, or stubborn, I guess works as well, on the idea of launching a kingside attack if my opponent allows it. Oh, okay, we trade everything off and they open up a file. Okay, now regardless of whether or not I go for that attack, I'm going to drop the elephant here with the idea that eventually we might be able to take advantage of this semi-open file. F5 is again a weakness. It's not the same game, but it has some pretty similar concepts to the last one we played. Rook to G8 guarantees that they have no intention of castling kingside anymore. We'll play queen C2, targeting the pawn on F5. They are applying some pressure on G2, but it's not enough to take because of the elephant. We get E6, which does defend that square. I have a funny feeling we're going to have to do a little bit of maneuvering in this game as well. In fact, to the point that I might just play my elephant to E2 and sort of reroute it to the queen side and try for a queen side attack, see if I can get away with that. Because my elephant is more mobile than my opponent's. If they play the elephant to G6, as a rook, it has no way to make any progress, and as an elephant, it doesn't really either. I mean, it can move back into the position, but that's really always a possibility. Let's play A4, press the position a little bit more. Ooh, interesting. Okay, we'll play here first with the idea that we want to take and trade off these rooks, but when the opponent grabs that open file with the queen, we'll be ready to castle out of the way, and they have really no way to back that up that I can see. Okay, H5, wow, they have the exact same idea we did, which is just to press for that kingside attack. Wow, that's really interesting, actually. Let's play, you know what? Let's just rewrite the whole book. Let's play elephant to C1. If the opponent ever takes with the pawn, I'm jumping in with that elephant, and it's got a nice spot on C5. Actually, maybe with the knight as well. Otherwise, I'm leaving the king in the center, and he's gonna have to fend for himself, basically. Okay, king to E2, and the idea is we take, the opponent takes, we take on A8, they take back, and we grab this open file, and this king either runs for his life, or we figure it out the hard way on that 7th rank. And I think it's a sound plan. I mean, I made it sound cool, I feel like, when I explained it, but we'll see if it's actually worth anything. B4 is super aggressive, holy smokes. Okay, if I take, my opponent takes, free pawn. Not free pawn, C3. I see. And if I take, opponent takes with knight, and then I'm in a pretty sketchy position there. Okay, we'll trade off on E4, because my opponent really hasn't left me a choice but to get rid of that, honestly, very well-placed knight. As far as our knight goes, back is kind of passive. E5 creates a weakness. H4 is just kind of a waste of a knight move, or at least it'll be stuck there for the near future. But at least it stops H4 ideas, so we'll start with knight to H4. And if this pawn ever moves, maybe there's some flexibility for the knight. Otherwise, we're kind of just holding the elephant back. I feel like temporarily it's justified here. Opponent now down to 40 seconds with no shortage of things to calculate in this position. Okay, they decide to take. Not really anything to overthink. We just kind of take back. Can't take because this is free. Otherwise, you're just losing a pawn. So maybe knight to A5 is necessary. We take, that just gives a great spot. Yep, knight to A5 is exactly what they play. B4 is really interesting, but knight comes in. So I guess we have no choice but to concede. The cool thing is the knight by itself can't really do anything, so we'll go in for our own counterattack, and I believe we have more pieces to work with at the moment than the opponent does. So we might not be in such a tough spot, to be honest. Now 14 seconds left for the opponent. No shortage of time issues as well. Okay, if we're gonna sack the queen, then I'm always going to accept that. Especially now with check, and we have to win one of these two pieces. Like I said, just not a lot of time for the opponent to calculate that, so it's not really their fault, but time is always part of the game. Just kind of bring everybody into battle. There's definitely no kingside attack, so we just bring enough pieces over, and eventually we should be able to sort of suffocate the opponent's position. Let's play rook to C7. Rook to B8. Now, why can't I play this? Because that's not actually hanging because of the elephant. I see. Okay, rook to B7 will offer a trade. They decline. Let's play queen back to B2. There's no need to overcomplicate this. They want to come onto the second rank. We will just try not to allow that. If rook to C1, they can just take. How amusing. Okay, again, no need to overcomplicate this. We'll just move back out of the way. They have 2 seconds to play a lot of chess. Should be enough time to cause them some problems. Again, we just sort of shuffle out of, if we shuffle out of the way, there's check. But we're winning that endgame though, because this rook is super far removed from the position. So they do win the queen back. Oh, they don't even go for that. Oh, they're gonna make me go for the king march. Don't mind if I do. 10 out of 10 times, I will also accept a king march. Okay, we'll go ahead and take here. Check, I move out of the way. Let's go, we march into the position. We fear nothing. Okay, what do we play here though? Trying to keep in mind that I actually want to win this. We'll play rook to C6 and clear the way for the pawn. Seems like a sound enough idea. Knight is pretty much trapped, but if they want to waste tempo on that, then we're good to go. Okay, sweet. With that, we do get, we don't even get the resignation. They just flag. Again, kind of a tricky endgame to figure out how to put up a good fight. But with that, we win game number 3 and get our 3rd victory. Not to mention we crossed 1700. We are now rated 1702. If you guys did enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Let me know down below what you guys think of this chess variant. I do plan on making a tier list soon. I'm not exactly sure when, because I do want to go through all of these variants again. Now that I have a little more experience with them and will only be challenging higher rated opponents. I will see you guys in the next one.